Hello to all you beautiful gems out there, and welcome back to Gem.In Productions. I'm here today to deliver an intuitive message in which I've received and downloaded for myself as well as you guys. As you guys may know, we are all connected. Everything's connected. Um, though we may appear to have different um, attributes and traits, we're all one. We're all connected. Um, And one of the ways in which we are connected is through spirit and energy and frequency, whatever you want to call it. That's the connection that we share, but it's more to it. One of the ways in which we can communicate with spirit is through tools of divination, one of which happens to be tarot. Now, tarot is something that I've been curious about getting into, as well as other tools of divination such as um, astrology, numerology, things of that nature. And for quite some time, I've deprived myself of experiencing these things due to the fear of possibly being judged and criticized by those closest to me. But through my experience, I'm learning that yes, I'm going to face criticism no matter what I do, no matter where I go. It's going to occur with people that are close to me, people that are distant from me. But that's not what really hinders me. What really hinders me is myself. And I just don't have the energy to do that anymore. So rather than me being criticized and stopping myself in my own tracks, I'm learning to operate and navigate my life through that criticism. And by doing so, I'm actually receiving more from the universe because I'm aligning myself with what I truly desire to experience within my life. So, with all that being said, I'm finally stepping into my journey of divination. And this is probably I think this is the fourth intuitive session that I've conducted. And the more and more I do it, it's just so many things are resonating in my life. So many things. Things that were once concealed within the darkness, the light is now exposing what those things really are. And it's just a beautiful process. Now, tools of divination are highly criticized and scrutinized and ostracized due to their quote unquote affiliation with demonic forces. That's one way to think about it. But I do not have a religious framework or a state of mind. I'm beyond all that stuff. And people will tend to demonize and villainize things in which they don't understand. Um, and sometimes they just do it through affiliation, just because they heard someone else demonize it. Someone else told them that this thing meant this. They respect and admire that person so much that they just take their word as law and don't even question it. It's not the way I live my life. Don't do it that way. Um, and I just had to allow myself to step into it despite the criticism that I could possibly face. But I knew that in depriving myself of the things in which I want to experience, I will not be experiencing the fullness of life. So stepping into that path, and I'm actually allowing myself more opportunities by walking and becoming the light that I am. So that being said, I'm going to be I'm going to be delivering an intuitive message, not only for myself, but for the rest of you guys. So, first card, Three of Wands. All right. And the elements in which I've downloaded from this card are this right here, are these right here. So, in drawing the Three of Wands, I downloaded the elements of being on the road to riches, abundance on your path, navigating life through your gifts, your passions, and your desires, the path being revealed unto you, and operating through emotions. So that's the first card. Second, King of Swords. And with this card, I downloaded the elements of steadfastness, wisdom, unwavering and undeniable truth, activeness, operating through truth, and a respectable leader. That's number two. Number three, there are swords. A lot of swords in this deck. The elements of which I've downloaded from this are operating through love, honesty, and truth, unshakable and undeniable truth, beliefs, intimacy, and perception. Fourth card, the Hanged Woman. All right. The elements downloaded from this card are flexibility, leisure, stagnation, comfort, balance, peace, tranquility, satisfaction. And last, but certainly not least, one that's often misconceived, death. Now, it's quite a funny story in this because I had a photo shoot with my cousin yesterday, and I was just expressing how passionate I am about stepping into using tools of divination for my intuitive, through me establishing a more intuitive connection with my being. And I actually told her that I was ready to pull the card of death because I can decipher this thing in so many ways. Like my mind just works so differently in terms of like esotericism and symbology. I see things and things that people don't even see. Like you won't even think about it. Um, but that's that Gemini energy that I have. So it is what it is. But anyway, so the elements which I've downloaded from death, the death card are rebirth, rejuvenation, transformation, the end of a cycle, letting go, rebranding, anguish, attachments. Path will challenge relationship or relationships, and having to make sacrifices along your path. So those are the 5 cards in which I've drew from my deck this morning, and now I'm going to decipher the message in which I've received from the collective of these 5 cards, and this is that message here. So you know the truth. It's undeniable, unshakable. You feel it in your heart and soul. The path you are traveling will bestow upon you endless wisdom that will make a way for your gifts, but it will cost you. For you to get to where you want to be, you must travel lightly, meaning that you must let go. All that hinders you are attachments. The not knowing of situations and circumstances that are to come as a result of your boldly pursuing your dreams is discomforting for you, but the answer is not to stay where you are. You are in an okay space. And an okay space is pretty much a space in which have just enough, you have just enough, you don't, that, let me reword that. So an okay space is pretty much a space or area in your life in which you have just enough that you don't have to go all out, but yet you still feel discontent with your circumstances and your situations. But you've done just enough. So you pretty much did like the bare minimum and you consider that to be livable, but you still feel this longing in your heart. So that's an okay space. Um, so you pretty much remain dormant in that okay space. But you desire to do more. The moment you break away from the webs that you've created the moment that you break away from the webs in which you've created for yourself as a safety net and move in the direction of your desires, you'll be transformed. Now, of course, you will face many challenges, one being your relationship or relationships. And the criticism accompanied by the perception of those around you. But you must advance and don't allow these things to hinder you, because the only thing that really stops you is yourself. So, what remains throughout your rebirth, treat preciously. What leaves, don't chase it. Allow that pain to be a catalyst and continue to move forward. So, in short, you may be facing difficulty and challenges within your journey, but the answer isn't to remain in a state of comfort. It's to actually continuously take strides and advance through that discomfort, because through that discomfort, there's growth. Now, I like to use the analogy of working out in relation to growing through a process of growing through a journey. So, say for instance, you're a bodybuilder. You have to aggravate your body in order to build on new muscle. If you don't aggravate your body, you will not produce new muscle mass. So, through that whole process of gaining and building stronger and bigger muscles, you are literally going through a difficult and discomforting process. But on the other side of that pain and trauma and anguish, there's growth. And the people who go through that process, they are like so amazed with what they've accomplished through that pain, through being resilient and persevering and steadfastness in the process. They made gains. So that doesn't just apply to fitness. That doesn't just apply to the physical realm. It also applies to the mental realm as well. So whatever you may be going through, whatever thoughts may come to mind, just realize that it's just a thought. Don't allow yourself to become the thought. The moment you become the thought, you vibrationally align with that, and it's a hindrance. And we make it a habit of hindering our own growth and our own processes due to what somebody else may think. It's not even a guarantee that they think these things. It's just all in our head. But the majority of the time, I won't even say the majority, but sometimes they're just excuses that we make out of fear. We like to blame other people for the reasons why we didn't accomplish certain things, the reasons why we didn't go to this place, or the reasons why we're not living a life of successes that we define for ourselves. We like to accuse other people of that. But it's time for us to own up to our own shit and take accountability and responsibility for our being, because we are so powerful, and we do a disservice to ourselves by saying that the reason why we aren't at this particular place in our life is because of something that somebody said or did, or what we thought somebody said or did to us. And that's just not the way to go. We will not get to where we want to be by constantly placing blame and responsibility over our being on other people. It just won't work that way. So, in order for you to get to where you want to be, you have to make sacrifices. One possibly being your relationships, certain habits, beliefs, thought processes. It all starts in the mental realm and then the physical. Um, Certain mentalities and habits that we've had for quite some time, we have to sacrifice those for the sake of moving forward in our process and reaching that destination that we've envisioned ourselves at. We gotta let go. And that's why I'm so like drawn in by the death card, because if you take these things literally, they'll mess you up psychologically. Um, but by me having a more, I just have a wonderful relationship with symbols, because they just come so naturally to me, and I feel like that's the case because I've always been a reader, and it's just that like my mind works different than my other siblings. Like my siblings, they are kind of like literalists. I'm not a literalist because I'm so diverse. Like I've read so many things, I've seen so many things. Um, I don't know, man. It's just the Gemini energy that I have, that dualistic nature and aspect of me. It like I allow myself to like see things from both sides, and I prefer to stay in the middle rather than gravitating towards the left or the right. I like to stay in the middle. That's not to say that I've never gravitated towards the left or the right, but ideally, I like to stay centered. I like to have the best of both worlds. I like both things. So, with that in mind, in terms of the death card, I never thought that it meant like a physical death. I always thought that meant like changing something or the end of a cycle. So, when I drew that card this morning, when I tell you that it spoke to me, it spoke to me. Um, and I don't know, I'm just thrilled and excited to be doing what I'm doing right now because I just know that some time ago in my life I wouldn't have done this because I would have been so afraid of what other people would have thought of me. But now it's just like I'm literally just letting stuff go. And every card in which I've drawn this morning, they resonate with me. It's that intuition. I'm more in tune with it, and more has been like I'm experiencing so many things, like so many opportunities to come my way, like things of which I've desired, I've desired with like this intensity. They are coming into fruition, and they are manifesting right before my eyes. And all I have to do is just claim it. That's all I have to do. So that and what you desire, it's already here. You just have to align with it vibrationally, energetically, and you have to claim it. So that's all that I have for you guys today. But I will be back with another intuitive message. But until then, peace.